Welcome to the Hudson Valley Disc Golf Podcast, the perfect podcast for those that love Team Challenge but have been living in a cave for the past 6 days. This week we got Alex, Corey, Evan, Kristen, Jasan, and Jaimen. Kevin Kroenke and Randy should be on after putting leagues. They're all on to talk about their Team Challenge matches, but first we got a couple topics to cover. We got putting leagues to talk about, but I don't want to start with too much of me talking. So Jaimen, Kenny Pickett, we got a Super Bowl ring. What are your thoughts?
Oh my God, I know. Not that he did anything. I think he was 0 for 1. But yeah, I was kind of chuckling to myself at that. I was kind of rooting for the Eagles, but not Kenny. I was actually thinking, I was like, throughout that game, I was like, I don't know who either of these guys' backup quarterbacks are if one of them gets injured. And then, the Eagles, for the ultimate insult to injury, roll out their second string in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. Like, holy shit. He's Kenny Pickett, of all people. It would only be better if it was like Mason Rudolph for the Chiefs.
That was probably the most fun I had watching a game where I hate both of the teams immensely. I probably had more audible reactions in that game than the entire Giants season. Like every time Patrick Mahomes went down, I was so happy. I never really had a super negative opinion of him until he did that thing where he like slowed down going out of bounds and then flopped a couple weeks ago. That kind of stuff makes me gag. Duke used to do the flopping, and now it's like a regular thing in all sports. It's almost like accepted, and it's like, there's a way to win, and that ain't it. But any other comments on that, Jaimen?
No. I was telling my students all week, the main thing I was rooting for was a power outage. But yeah, same boat, kind of weirdly rooting for the Eagles. But no, it was I liked watching it.
Anybody else have any thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I don't know if I took a nap or something. I woke up, opened up Facebook, saw some comment about like, oh, it's not even the first half yet. And so-and-so, I'm like, shit, the game started already. So I go to my computer, I fire up a stream. I think it was like halfway into the second quarter, or had just started second quarter. And I think I watched 2 drives, and Patrick Mahomes was just getting walloped. And then I watched him throw a pick 6. And that's when I turned the game off. I'm like, even the commercials aren't worth watching this right now. And that was my entire Super Bowl experience. I watched about 5 minutes of it.
Yeah, the commercials, I think it's like Saturday Night Live, where you used to think, oh, it's so much better, but you only remember the good ones. You don't remember the crap ones. And it's, 1 out of every 4 or 5 commercials is halfway decent. So you could just watch them the next day.
I really like the one where Seal was a seal. The Mountain Dew commercial.
I did like that one, yeah.
Killed me. I forget what it was even for, but it was like all of like the classic commercials.
Oh, yeah. Because they had Monkey Baby.
Yeah,
Baby
it had
Monkey,
Puppy
yeah.
Monkey Baby, and I was like, oh my God, no way.
Yeah.
And then it had all like the hot dogs running down the hill, and it kind of like went through all these like commercials, and I was like, oh no, I have no idea what the commercial was for though. I can't remember.
It's always a good product when you have no idea what it's for. Yeah,
I think it was like Instacart or something similar.
Yes, Instacart, that's what it was, because it was for all the different brands that were in the bag. Yeah, I thought that was really clever. I liked that one.
Was there an E-Trade baby commercial?
I don't think so.
Damn it.
I don't think so.
Washed. Super Bowl ain't what it used to be.
But there was a pickleball one with Norman Osborn, who his name's escaped me.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe.
I love that that's your point of reference for Willem Dafoe.
Wow.
Yeah,
Whose wouldn't it be?
Totally valid. I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a Michelob or something, like a beer.
It was some beer. I don't remember which one it was.
All right. I'll tell you, though, and I'm not going to go play-by-play into the game, but on their first drive, the Eagles had 4th and 2. They went for it, and he threw a deep pass. And they called offensive pass interference, and I'm like, oh, here we go again with the Chiefs.
Yes.
But then they stopped them when the Chiefs got the ball. So I was like, okay, but they weren't scoring quick enough. And I thought at some point Mahomes is going to become Mahomes, and he just never did. So
yeah, that first call was really soft. And then the next call on the next possession was really soft. I'm like, okay.
It was almost like a payback call.
Yeah. I said to Zach, I'm like, not for nothing. I was like, I know that's like, it's just they're playing, but if you're going to call that one, you have to call that one. And then you saw the flag go up. I'm like, all right. I was like, I hope it's not the whole game.
Yeah. I think Brady said neither of them should be thrown, but that's because he's a quarterback.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. I think it got better from there. It wasn't so like tit for tat. Like they kind of just let the game go.
Yeah. I didn't notice anything else egregious after that.
Yeah. But I've never seen a quarterback get sacked so many times.
Right? In a Super Bowl. That's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah. I have no idea. That was a wild game. The Eagles came to play.
Yeah.
And they burned the city down, just as expected.
Yes. They took the polls.
Yeah, greasing up the polls. Yeah. All right, Evan, do we have a Winter Battle Royale update?
We do have a minor update. We were looking forward to JJ and Kenji playing. They talked about playing yesterday, but after Team Challenge Saturday and the incoming weather, that's been postponed. So we're still waiting for that one. But we did have a match in the winners bracket between Tim Goyette and Josh Lee, and they played at Shen. Looks like they had a pretty good match. They were tied after the first 4 holes. Josh got a point on 5. They pushed the next 4, and then Tim got points on 10 and 12 to go up 1. Josh got one back on 13, and then Josh got points on 15 and 16, and it looks like a push on 17, and Josh took that one down 2 and 1 to send Tim to the losers bracket. So Josh goes on to the semifinals, and in that next round, the choices for courses are, I believe, Greenville and J Park South or Burbine Blues. So whoever wins the match between Brian Monahan and Dennis Daly will get to play Josh at one of those places.
So that's the first one into the green bracket.
Correct.
Still what, 9 players left?
Yep, still just Joe and I have been eliminated. Once JJ and Kenji play, that'll send somebody else to the sidelines, and then the losers brackets will take shape from there.
You don't know of any rescheduling on the Kenji JJ match?
No, I don't think that they've locked that one down yet, but hopefully by next week we will have some results for you.
Well, this weekend, there's the Ice Bowl, right?
Correct. Ice Bowl Saturday. Also looks like some more inclement weather might be on its way. Although I'd like to remind these guys it is a Winter Battle Royale, so you kind of have to expect that you might have to deal with some of that. But
yeah, that's fair. All right. We also had in New England Team Challenge, Stony Kill was at Oak Ridge, right, Alex?
No. That was the scheduled match, but the more we were looking at the weather and everything there, we were forecasted for like 6 to 10 inches, and we would have had to drive through the Berkshires to get to Gill, Massachusetts. And we were talking to the other captains, and they really didn't want to reschedule, and we really did want to reschedule. Eventually, they were able to come to a agreement that we're going to do it next week instead of this week.
Also on Sunday?
Yeah, same deal, same Sunday. Unfortunately, the weather looks kind of identical. Like looking at the forecast, it's potential snow Saturday to Sunday, same deal. So hopefully we dodge that, but we'll see how it all goes.
and at least it won't be on the Super Bowl.
At least it won't be on the Super Bowl. It's true. And at least we won't have back-to-back team challenge.
Yeah, when you told us Saturday morning you guys are supposed to play the next day, I was surprised, to say the least.
Yeah, it eventually got worked out, but it took a good amount of convincing for sure.
All right. So we had a couple putting leagues last week. I got the order corrected this week. On Monday, 9-Pin Cider had their week 5 putting league from Mark Bryan. Lots of fun tonight with a few aces as well. With 61 players, we're still getting brand new players every week. Only 1 week left to get some practice and get your friends hooked before the spring leagues start. Reminder, season scores are best 5 of 6 weeks, so advantage goes to players who have come every week. Season prizes will include 9-pin swag, no cash. We hope to see you all next week for the explosive season finale. You won't want to miss this one. But in the non-paid league, it looks like Noodle Arm Brandon Klein came in 3rd place with 12 points, and there was a tie for the win with 16 between Nick Cardone and Greg Thies. It looks like Nick got the free flight, and maybe they thumb wrestled after for it. In the paid league, looks like they paid out 6 spots. 6th place got $10. Mark Bryan. Tie for 3rd place, 3 players with 14 points. They each got $15. That's Chris Santo, Derek Stasinski, and Ryan Martin. 2nd place got $30, 15 points. Broken Hand correspondent Joe Karen. And your winner got $35, had 16 points. Nick Alcatraz at Cats. Looks like 2 aces, Derek Stasinski and Kyle Dewin. They split $26. Well, they split 52 and each got $26. You were there last week, right, Evan? Any other commentary?
No, last week it was, I thought, a difficult layout, and my score reflected that. I had noticed afterwards, probably the next day on Facebook, Eric Struna commented, called attention to a free 12-ounce pour was won by my daughter, Emma. So that was kind of neat. When we showed up tonight, Mark had a coupon for her, so we went and got a can of their sparkling cider. You know, they have a non-alcoholic sparkling cider that we shared. So she was excited to win that. Mark said that she won that according to a super secret formula. So that was neat.
Heck yeah. David Landers looks like got a free pour as well last week. All right. Melvin Throws Putting League had 14 players. It looks like Massachusetts Steve and Kathleen Bemis got third place, with Robbie Hendricks and Mark Ox taking second and $12. Samuel Jonathan Richter and Nick Warren are your winners with, I assume they split, $40. In the overall standings, Joe Karen is in fifth place with 34 points, Mark Ox in fourth with 36, Robbie H in third with 50, Sam Richter in second with 52, and clinging to a 2-point lead at 54 points, the Tower of Power, Jason Gorsage. Says Matthew Hess won a pull from the swag box. Nick W won 50-50 for $30, and through 5 weeks, they've raised $224 from entries in 50-50, and it all goes straight to the Legion. I don't know if that's like the Legion of Doom or who, but some kind of Legion is getting $224.
I think it takes place at the American Legion.
Oh, the American.
I think Ox may be affiliated with that Legion, but
The Legion of Doom?
yeah, that one exactly.
Oh, so he's a Seattle Seahawk fan? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the Legion of Boom.
Yeah, I was going to say Legion of Boom, right?
Yeah, my bad. All right. So, yeah, Melvin throws. I don't know how long that one goes. Does anybody?
Couldn't tell you.
No, I forget as well.
All right. I figure if it was going to end this week, he would have said something about that 2-point, going into finals or something, but who knows? There were no updates as far as I know about Northway Putting League. I checked that link from last time. It's still only showing the first 6 weeks. Kristen, I totally forgot to ask last time, are there any Putting League updates? I don't see any on the book of face.
So Beacon has them on Wednesdays. We kind of just put a post out like, hey, don't forget there's Putting League, and then we'll post results right into the comments on that. So there should be a couple there. The other one is Wedge. That's on Thursday, and I know Jarden just posted a bunch of updates because this week is actually their finals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he has like a bracket for Pro Am and I think MA4.
He posted that today?
He posted it the other day in the Wedge group, I believe.
I didn't see it. I'll have to be a little more diligent on that. But they've got one more week and then finals, or the next time is finals? I don't know if I heard you right.
So this Thursday is going to be finals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're actually going to do like a little party and everything. Here it is.
While you're looking that up, actually, the Melvin Throws goes until, I think, March 4th. It's 8 weeks.
Okay. A couple more weeks of that. 2-tree couple.
That should pull it up, and it's got all the bracket.
Oh, I thought you were going to read stuff.
Oh, God.
So Winter Punting League, Captain Lawrence Brewery and Wedge, thank you for your participation. We've been playing for 7 weeks, 48 different participants with 28 or so with 3 or more scoring weeks, $170 collected for Throw Pink and for Wedge. Let's look at the brackets, though. It's you against Charlie Hurd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're the 1 seed in the AM division. Uh-oh.
I am, yeah. I was also surprised because we made exactly 4 weeks, and like last week was kind of iffy with how the weather was acting. So when we got there, we were like, okay, good. We at least got the 4 weeks in. But Jordan was even going to let me like come and like just make up the last week and then see how the playoffs were going to go. So yeah, I'm against Charlie. I think it's just 1 round. You're just going to do 1 round of each basket, which again, it's like the first basket's worth 1 point, the second's worth 2, the third's worth 3, and so on. And you shoot at each basket 5 times. So I think we're going to do just like 1 round of that, and that'll be what determines who goes on. I don't think it's like a full 3-round thing like it is each week.
So you got Charlie Hurd, and then the winner of that match faces the winner of Gary Mason and Alyssa Denson.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, I see Brian McGarr and Matt Baxter-Lucino go against each other, and Billy Blade and Jason Admaski. I see Josh Pallor and Steve Ackerman are alternates. So I guess if somebody doesn't show, if for some reason you can't make it, then one of those guys could fill in. That's what it makes me think.
Yeah, no, exactly. Jordan kind of said like, hey, like if you know you can't make it, try to let us know ahead of time so that we can like figure out what the bracket is going to be, or like if we have to reschedule or something like that. But yeah, I think we just have alternates in there just in case somebody can't make it.
Nice. Looks like in the pro division, there's 6. Chris Lucier is the 1 seed, so he gets a bye, and he will face the winner of Will Tyler and Taylor Ray. And then on the other side, Sal Orsino is the number 2 seed, so he has a bye, and he will face the winner of Bill Newman and Zach McDonald. Old school versus new school. Nice.
Yeah, super fun. They do a lot of good work down there. And Captain Lawrence is just, they're so gracious with their space. You know, they have a huge warehouse, and they just let us take it over. You know, we have 2 servers that kind of run in and out of there, Brandon and Mark, who are amazing, super, super attentive. So like you got people waiting on you hand and foot while you're putting. It's like the most ideal situation down there. It's wonderful.
Heck yeah. Anything else on that?
Nah, that's it. Finals will be yesterday. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Just a couple other things before we get to New York Team Challenge. Jason posted about SkipAce at some point this week. Our first event is on February 28th. It's the DGPT Discraft Supreme Flight Open presented by Florida's Adventure Coast. Was there the possibility of anything before then, Jason or anybody?
I can't think of anything.
That's good. If stuff gets added after it, that's fine.
There will definitely be stuff added after. They don't have all the Disc Golf Pro Tour ones there. In the past, they automatically did it. And I guess this season he's not because some of the commissioners complained. So he is going to send out reminders, he said, in emails to remind the commissioners to add them. But throughout the season, once the registration opens up for the other Disc Golf Pro Tour events, they'll pop up.
Awesome. Did we want to try to do that? I forget what it's called, like Elimination League, like the draft one?
Oh, yeah, I'm down to do that. We got to pick a day to do it next Monday.
The following Monday, the 24th, it starts on Friday. So if we do it, it's got to be in the next week or two, basically.
I think next Monday is President's Day, and my kids have that whole week off. That might be a good day for me to do it.
Okay. You'd be interested, Jason. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Jaimen, would you be interested in that? It's the elimination one. It's basically we do a draft on here, and then after each week, whoever had the worst record gets eliminated from the league, and their players go back in. We got to figure out, is it like a waiver order, how those players get picked up theoretically or whatever. But would you be interested in that, Jaimen?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Alex?
Yeah, definitely.
Corey?
Sure.
All right. Evan?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Kristen? Any interest?
Yeah, why not?
That's everybody, right? That's 6. We give Randy, that's 7. Who else? I'm thinking 10.
Tim Goyette would be into that. He follows
All
the
right.
Pro Tour pretty closely.
Oh, I'm not trying to add some pro pickers.
Pat, are you in?
I'd do it if it makes it even. Because honestly, I realize that my picks are silly because I've got such outdated knowledge of pro disc golf. So I would be eliminated probably quicker than you, Jason.
Let's get another lady in here. Let's get like Kate or Jess.
I'll check with Caitlin.
Yeah.
I mean, really, a lot of it also has to depend on who's going to be available next week, next Monday, especially if we do it next Monday.
You had mentioned maybe trying to get Tim on to get the Camel Case Corey origin story. So
Yeah. I don't know if 9 other people or 8 other people want to sit here and listen to his origin story, though, if we got a bunch of people drafted.
probably not.
So honestly, that's why I was like maybe the next week after, but we could always push Tim because that's fun to push Tim back each week. Have him on for this and then not talk about it. Actually, he didn't have anything to talk about, but he said if you're looking for somebody in the next couple weeks, Zanchelli, and I know he's a big into that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I think he follows.
Gambly type stuff.
Yeah. He's
Yeah. Oh, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, gambly type stuff. You know. Well, he does the boxes and such, not necessarily picking. So I don't know. He might not.
He does love his squares.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily knowing. That's just getting random numbers for a Super Bowl, you know. So I'll check with him, and we'll try to make it 10. If I need to be the 10th, we'll do that, and we'll try to make it for next week. So another thing on SkipAce, am I crazy, or should we do a cash payout? I mean, isn't that one of the reasons to have a Patreon? For the regular, this other one is just, you know, we could figure that out too. But what do you guys think?
We're talking like $50.
Like a $7 Dunkin' Donuts gift card.
How about commissioning like a legacy trophy or something?
That'd be cool.
Some sort of towel, maybe. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
For New York, we got the trophy, and then each year we add a plaque to it for the team that won.
Mhm.
And you could keep carrying that on each year.
Because we've done well, we still owe
Oh, yeah. We still,
your mechanic a mystery box or a whatever box.
I got to get it before I need breaks, okay? Just
The thing is, with a trophy, I don't want to have to worry about what do we give the person the trophy for the year, like those idiots at J Park do.
Yeah.
I mean, then you got to worry about if that person's ever going to show up again.
Yeah, and then some guy out west wins it, and then we're like, yeah.
Next thing you know, shipping is more than $50 to send this trophy out to Rob all the way out in
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm only laughing because I've seen his pics, but no,
And we all know
theoretically.
You got a better chance of it coming to my house before it goes to Rob's house.
I mean, that could be something we could even do graphically, too, for the Facebook page. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm just thinking, like, you know, why not throw a little cash in there?
Cash in the mystery box?
Do you want to do the mystery box and cash?
I like the mystery box idea,
All right.
although we're like always lagging behind on it. But
My biggest issue with the mystery box is you're winning something from the podcast. I'd like to have some stuff with the podcast logo. I've been, you know, dragging my feet for, 4 or 5 years on that kind of stuff. So in the first couple, I gave out like everything I had that had any kind of logo. So I don't know.
could like commission like a custom die or something with the Hudson Valley Disc Golf and then like SkipAce champion or something on it.
That's a good point. A bullfrog?
Guess depends on who wins.
That's a good point. I don't really know anybody who dies, so I don't know.
I got you, Pat.
I forgot to mention in the past, Will Byrne also, he's a new Patreon member. Will Byrne.
Shout out, Will.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. One last thing before we get to New York Team Challenge, and might be a topic for a different time, but we talked about AM Worlds in our chat. On Thursday, I saw Kyle Ebinger posted on the Long Island page that AM Worlds would be held in Buffalo in 2026. And my first thought was, because we talked about it last Monday, was Corey, that's a good excuse to get the Fools Fest.
I will be at Fool's Fest, yes.
For the AM part, for points for that. That doesn't entice you at all?
No. Who do I look like playing with a bunch of AMs? I forget the rules on Worlds eligibility. Like, I don't know if once you've been deemed a professional at any point, you're automatically ineligible.
As soon as you cast, you're ineligible.
Huh.
Yeah. So hypothetically, even if that wasn't the case, and all I needed to do was get points, I would have to devote a fair amount, at the very least, of the season playing AM events just to get an invite.
Well, Alex, have you cashed?
I have not. I have retained my AM status as a PDGA member, so it's on the radar for sure.
Is the scramble going to be a B tier this year?
Not unless I reschedule it, which I do not plan to do.
Is that because of Greater Hartford?
Yeah, whatever tournament ended up on that weekend, there's an A tier that's reasonably close.
I'm wrong about the A tier, but I did see that recently.
Yeah, I think it's a tri-state championship.
Oh, yeah, that's
Greenfield,
definitely
Massachusetts.
within 150 miles or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I looked at that because I'm looking at a tournament the first weekend of May, which is the same weekend as Welcome to the Jungle, and Jenkinsville is only 10 miles outside of the exclusion zone for Meadowbrook.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like there should probably be a carve out in the rules for the East Coast because of how densely populated it is and how close everything is. At some places, it's like probably impossible to be 150 miles away from an A tier.
Mm-hmm. We got to get to our state representative and get James back on.
Yeah. Who, to bring it full circle, is one of the guys working on AM Worlds.
Oh, nice.
Him and Sam Castiglione, as far as I can tell, are the guys that brought all that to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super excited it'll be at Buffalo.
Are you going to try to qualify, Kristen?
We do enough tournaments. I generally do.
Hmm.
The women only need like 200 points to qualify, so you get a couple decent tournaments and you get it right off the bat.
Alex, have you tried to schedule anything, or you don't think you even need to reschedule anything? Like, just keep your regular schedule and you'd probably have enough, or you don't know?
So looking at last year, I scored just over 1,000 points, and that definitely hit a good chunk of A tiers, a good chunk of, high attendance AM tournaments. But you need 2,000 points in order to qualify. So in order to actually do that, I need to play better in the tournaments that I do go to, and definitely look at going to a couple of different tournaments that I may or may not have gone to in different situations. An easy one is Welcome to the Jungle and Jaimen's tournament that he was talking about for that first weekend in May. I got to make a decision there as to, which one I'd go to. I would probably play better at Jaimen's tournament, but there would probably be more M1 competitors, and it's an A tier at Welcome to the Jungle. So figuring out which one I'm going to do there, it's going to be a couple of different decisions to be made as we go down. Even some of those like C tiers, like I didn't play the Jammer last year, and I'll probably want to play that one. Anything that's local is probably going to be a step up in priority. But yeah.
I have been looking around at the schedule of different stuff, and I think that there's a couple AM only A tiers that happen. One of them's in New Hampshire at the Hollows. I think it's New England Amateur Championships, and that's usually on kind of a dead weekend in May, so that's a good one to get to. And then Buffalo also has an AM only tournament, which it would probably be pull double duty for something like that.
Yeah, I was looking. It looks like there's a NADGT event at Maple Hill as well. That's AM only because that's National Amateur Disc Golf Tour.
Oh, nice.
And it looks like I don't need to do anything fancy just because it's a tour thing. I don't think I need to do anything special to register for it, even if that's the only national tour thing I play. I think I can still do it. I think the main thing is just, play better. Looking down, I got 250 points for playing Brewster Ridge and easily could have, gotten a bunch more if I had shot 3 strokes better or something like that. So yeah, figuring out that I'm gonna have to actually be practicing and things like that if I really want to push it.
And if you need me, I'll sign up for MA1 in a couple tournaments. You can get an extra few points beating me. So there's that.
All right.
Alex, is it 2,000 points for any division, or is there a point total for different divisions?
I think for all of the like MA1 and everything there is all going to be that same 2,000 point level. For the ladies divisions and the age protected divisions, I think it's separate because I know the age protected divisions has a completely different like worlds thing.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah.
What was it, 200, Kristen?
Yeah, 200 points, something like that.
Yeah. So for the 90 plus division, it's probably like 10 points.
Oh, okay, so I can make it then. Is that what you're saying, Pat? I got a chance?
You got a shot.
Besides points or your rating, you could also qualify by being like in the top certain percentage of New York State players. Because I know Highland Mike Warner, he qualifies a lot, even just based on the fact that he plays so much. He's in the top like 10% or whatever it is of New York State players. So he's also generally invited. He also usually has a lot of points. So another fun way of qualifying.
Since this is AM, basically Jason and Jaimen and Corey, there's not even a shot for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Evan, any thoughts since it's in Buffalo, or you don't know?
No, I don't know that I'd be near qualifying. I mean, I'd love to check it out. Sounds like a fun trip, but yeah, looking at Global Masters Series, I was 3,700 or so. That's worldwide, I guess. I don't know. I didn't have a ton of points last year. I feel like you'd need more in MA40. So if I'm going to stay in that division, then it's probably not in the cards.
It's tough because there's not a ton, but every year there's more. That's a good thing.
Yeah, true.
The problem is they're all 40, you know?
You're right.
So they're you're a year older and they're just hitting 40. So yeah.
Exactly. I'm rooting for Alex. I hope he can get the points. And I'm in the same boat as you, Pat. Alex, if you want me to play MA1, I'll step up for you.
I'm rooting for, because that's a good content, baby. So yeah, we'll be following that all year.
We'll see how that goes. I'm looking at the requirements. So I either need to be rated 970 or higher, or be rated 960 or higher that doesn't meet the criteria for something else. So like for the first registration tier, or have 2,000 points. So yeah, 2,000 points is likely the only shot I'm going to get.
I thought 970 was the cutoff for pro.
There is no cutoff for MA1.
Yeah, there's no cutoff for MA1.
It goes the other way, though.
Yeah, it's like if you're a pro, you can't sign up for MA1 if you're over like 970 or something like that.
So if you were 970, we'd be telling you got to be pro anyway. So
probably
that one's irrelevant. Yeah.
I mean, I could jump up 50 points in a year. That could happen.
I don't dispute it.
I have faith in you, Alex.
But you'd qualify, and then we'd be like, dude, you can't play. You're pro. Yeah. You're too good. No, you're not allowed. I think it's good for local TDs because I think it's going to attract a few more players to events this year, just for that reason alone. So I think it's a good thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd hope so at least. The scramble would be an easy one for you guys to sign up for MA1. So we'll see how much I need it by September.
That's a good point. All right. So New York Team Challenge, we had 4 matches this weekend, and we've got most of them represented, but we'll start with the one that isn't. The Saratoga Revolution at the Central Park Roses or Rosebuds. Evan, Corey, Alex, Jason, Jaimen, Kristen, Randy, Jacob, and Caitlin all picked the Roses/Rosebuds to win. Any scoop on it? I'm looking at the board.
This board is pretty hard to look at, I gotta admit.
It is not Evan quality, I'll admit that.
No.
But we'll see. We'll get to the board that I want to talk about in a bit.
Me too.
So we're saving that one.
I don't know nothing except for them being tied after round 1, and then CPS blowing out Saratoga in doubles is almost kind of exactly what I would expect.
Even the close in the singles, you would have called that or no?
Maybe not exactly, but I feel like CPS is known for how strong their doubles plays.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Saratoga is, I mean, they have a fairly strong team too. So
it was 8.5 to 8.5 after one round, and 12 to 4 was the doubles. So it was 20.5 to 12.5. Par 58
matchups in the first round there. Kyle and Tucker. Kyle with a pretty big win. 6 and 4. Tyler over Dave. Yeah, and then totally lopsided in the second half.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We've been on that end of the deal against them.
That's co-Hudson Valley Disc Golf Podcast Player of the Year going against each other. That's a little lopsided, if you ask me. I don't know.
Kind of a marquee matchup.
Yeah. That was on the road, though. So, okay. He gets 3 points, right? Isn't that how it works?
yeah.
You get 3. It's like a free field goal. if you're at home. So yeah, it looks like they won all but two. But Tucker got his revenge. He did beat Kyle and Danny in doubles. So not perfect, but
Was that the hot round?
yeah, 48.
Yeah, 10
10
down.
under.
I'm sure the T-pads were not in great shape down there.
Do we know Charles G
Charles Gordon?
Charles
probably.
Gordon.
and Danny?
Probably Danny White
Danny White or Danny Parton?
or Danny Parton.
I thought Danny White was like out west.
Yeah, it's not Danny White.
He's out west working.
Oh, that's right. He's in Utah, right?
So you don't think he flew in for that round? All right.
Probably not.
Danny Parton and Kyle got beat by Tucker and Charles Gordon Jr. III. Let me check. I think I have the New York Team Challenge logistics here. The Revolution, that drops them to 2-3, and the Rosebuds are at 4-1 for the season. How many matches you guys play total?
It should be 6 for everybody.
Okay, so they each have a match to go. So moving on, we're obviously waiting on Randy, so we're not going to do the whips at Widowmakers yet. We got the Beast at Burbine at the Wrenches. Evan, Corey, Alex, Jason, Jaimen, Kristen, Randy, Jacob, and Caitlin all picked J Park. How'd that go, Corey?
Went pretty good. We had gotten a few inches of snow Wednesday or whatever day it was. So I actually ended up working from home that Thursday. Went down there on lunch, got a head start on clearance on the T-pads, and then Matt Clay met me out there in the afternoon. We finished them off. 1, to clean out the T-pads, and 2, to get a status check on some of the North holes. We decided that as much as we love forcing people to play J North, that it was too sketchy out in the woods, not just the T-pads, but like the entire property was covered in a sheet of ice with 2 inches of snow on top. So walking up and down the hills and over the rocks, it just wasn't worth people. Someone was guaranteed to eat shit at some point. So we decided we were going to play south for singles and west for doubles. There was still a few T-pads in there that were definitely not usable. So everyone was able to tee off from the sides or behind it. We got a little bit of a late start, but not too bad. Yeah, Chad and Brian and the ladies did matchups.
On the whiteboard, what was this triangle or pyramid?
So Jackie and Juliet on the Burbine team, they do a podcast, and one of their things is they have like a pyramid. They have like a little pyramid section where they'll rate people as far as where they sit on their pyramid. So I'm assuming that this is Brian's little nod or mocking them by putting our own little pyramid and putting everyone on it, not just certain people.
All right.
Yeah, so anyways, singles matches went out. I played against Mike Thomas from out in the CNY area and was on a card with Ryan Travis 148343, who had to play one of their top guys, Winter Thorn Canellis. That's his name, right?
Yep. I knew that because I say it a lot. Speaking of that, though, we haven't said Ryan Travis 148343. Has he been like hiding? Does he play in the winter time? What's he do?
I don't know. It's hard for me to keep tabs on that guy. He's all over the place, smoking meats and doing tractor stuff or whatever.
Did you say smoking meats?
Yeah, he's a big meat smoker. He
all
loves
right.
it. Yeah, so Winter and Ryan's match wasn't too eventful, but mine and Mike Thomas's match, on the first 9 holes, I think we pushed one of them. At any point, I think the biggest lead was maybe 2 points until we got to about 8 or 7 holes left. It was all tied up, and then we kind of did the same thing back and forth till I think we had like 3 holes left, and he was 2 up, and I got 1 on him. And then we get to our last 2 holes are hole 8 and hole 9. Hole 8 being the one that's up on the rock, the par 4 from like the parking lot. And actually, no, we had 8, 9, and 10. I think 8 we pushed, but then hole 9, I basically was looking to push him on that hole to take it to the last hole and possibly push the match. But I didn't really have problems all day with slipping until I went to go do a little layup jump putt, and my back foot slipped as I pushed off, and I hit like a stupid tree that was never even in like my perception, and ended up throwing it like 15 feet. So basically lost the match there. But Mike was doing the craziest shit that he's known for and just draining the most ridiculous putts. I think there was 3 holes where I'm like, all right, all I gotta do is just lay this up and then we push, or I take the hole, and he would just drain like a 40-footer, or he drained like a 60-footer after that. And then we get to hole 34 where the new basket position's up on the right, and if you played the hole before, there's like a gap on the extreme right side, like right looking at the basket. But if you're not directly in the middle of that hole, you basically have no line. And he was slightly off to the right, offset, and I don't know how it's possible. He like flicked this little putt that somehow like hyzered through all the trees, defied physics, and smashed into the chains. I was happy to see the putt go in for him, but I was getting pissed. It was like one of those situations where like you can't do anything to beat this guy. Like he can't do any wrong. Everything's just going in. Anyways, he beat me 2-1. So after round one, it definitely wasn't a blowout. I think the score was 9.5 to 7.5. But we had an instance where I think we were down a guy. Alex Hellenick came in and played round 2, but was not there in the morning. So the Beast would be getting a 0.5 point penalty for the match.
Like we discussed previously, you don't assign that point until the match is done to make sure. So right now it's 9.5 to 7.5, but it's potentially 9.5 to 8.
Yeah, we knew going into round 2 that they would have that 0.5 point penalty. So, I mean, it doesn't really change. Well, actually, it does kind of change something because now they're within 2 points, or, it's a 1.5 point difference. So it's a whole dubs match.
Yeah, now it's a difference between a push and a loss or a win.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I see Justin Muccelli beat JT Downey Jr. and Chad Larson beat Josh Smith. Just couple matches that I saw on here.
Yeah, Caitlin pushed Dave Herodes. I don't know if there was anything else in here. I know a lot of their heavy hitters are CNY guys, but I believe our team took wins over all of them except for me. Well, I lost to Mike Thomas and Diane lost to Amber. Oh, actually, and Eric Tripany won one up, so I take back what I said.
Chris Dahl over Casey Cummings. That's a good win.
That is a really good one. Casey Cummings is a slugger from out in the CNY area.
So I really meant to do this. I was going to pull the clip, and I might still do that, of somebody videoed you during the lunchtime.
Yeah, so that was Jackie. I brought my 2-stroke powered blender. I mean, if there was any match I was going to bring a 2-stroke powered blender to make margaritas for, it was to play the Burbine team. I think even if we played at Burbine, I might have still brought it.
I didn't realize it had the little motorcycle revvy thing.
It's got handlebars and a twist throttle, yeah. And a dirt bike exhaust on it. Thing rips.
I love it.
There's not many people that say they can get their blender up on the pipe.
Corey, let me just tell you that my dad had one of these for years when I was growing up, and anytime we went camping, he would bust this thing out to make anything frozen in it.
And what happened with all the other campgoers? They flocked to him to see the spectacle.
We were the party site.
You guys are probably those campers that have like a wooden sign that says like the McDonald's or whatever out front.
We never got that crazy. My mom did have the lights that went around the awning and everything, though.
So I did do my due diligence, and that morning I fired it up in the barn, probably to not the greatest hearing from my neighbors, but it's a little cold-blooded, so I wanted to make sure I didn't have no issues come lunchtime. Other than that, yeah, we had the staples. We had our Uncrustables and our fruit snacks, and I made chili again, and there's cornbread and curries and all the num-nums. Plenty of brewskis. So then going into round 2, I have no idea what the strategy was.
I could tell you in round 1, it was 21 degrees, but in round 2, it was 33 degrees.
Oh, yeah, that is on there. Yep.
And for Kyle, it was par 57 on West.
Yeah, so West is kind of funny because, I don't know, ever since the redesign, I feel like it doesn't really get played that much, or definitely at least not in any competitive type events, even for Team Challenge.
I was going to say, I play it a fair amount, but yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, there's more fun layouts, I guess. I'd rather play South and West, but...
What are a few of the highlight holes, just to orient me?
For J West, well, you play 13, Old Hole 9, the par 4 before crossing the road.
Mm-hmm. How much of it is on that side of the road?
Almost all of it. You only cross the road to play 3 holes.
So do you use the one that used to be 12, where the little over the hill kind of thing?
Yeah, it used to be 12B, now it's 19B.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. It's a fun little connector hole. That's the only layout it gets used on, so that's the only time you really get to play it. Yeah, so we went out for doubles. I got matched with Alex Hellenick, and we played Team Durrell, Earl Steenberg and Dave Moore. So knew that was going to be a fun card.
Where's the Durrell come from? Is that just they play together a lot?
I don't know. That name is old.
Dave and Earl.
Yeah, Dave and Earl.
Yeah, collectively known as Durrell.
All right, because I was looking, I'm like, there's no U in either of their names, but okay. All right.
And sometimes Jackie and Juliet go by Durrell, and they wear hats and sweatshirts, but I don't know. It gets weird.
That's fair.
Durrell is more of a lifestyle than
yeah,
person.
It's a vibe, I think, more than anything.
It's like, like during Walking Dead when they're all like, I'm Negan. So that's what Durrell is. Everyone's Durrell. I'm Durrell. You're Durrell. We're all Durrell.
I am Spartacus.
Exactly, Pat. I was just going to say Spartacus would be your point of reference.
I ain't that old, man. I just know it.
But you were right there with it, though.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so how'd you guys do?
Pretty bland, actually. We didn't really do anything spectacular. We got, I think, maybe a couple early birdies, but overall, me and Alex only got 3 birdies and no bogeys, where Earl and Dave, they got a birdie, like the front 9, and then the back 9 didn't really do much. And as the match got towards the end, they had to try some crazy thing. So we ended up beating them by 4 strokes, 3 down to 1 over. But at that time, I'm also looking at UDisc because hopefully most people are using it for their doubles matches. And going down the list, I'm seeing that we're basically like neck and neck as far as what pairs were guaranteed wins versus guaranteed losses. I think we probably had like 5 holes left, and the card ahead of us was Brian Biggersmith and Caitlin Clay versus Josh Weinstock and AT. And so that they were 2 strokes ahead. And after that point, because we were kind of waiting on them a little bit, but 2 holes in a row, we watched Josh Weinstock flick in a putt from what seemed like 60 plus feet, a typical Josh Weinstock move. So now all of a sudden that match is tied and we're behind them watching it all kind of unfold. I think Brian and Caitlin either birdied their last hole or at least won their last hole to win the match overall. I think at that point, basically, the score was tied. Actually, is that possible? 19 and a half to... either way, we needed this last match to win, and that was Cully and Brendan Sisk versus Casey Cummings and Eric Tripp, both the CNY guys. And after 18 holes, it was still not decided, so they had to go to a 3-hole playoff, which I think was hole 35, and then hole 1 and hole 2.
So the forehand jammer, and then right to 1?
Yep, and then right to 1, and then they got to hole 2, and I believe it was Cully got to probably about, 60 feet, like not even to the tree line that you're trying to get into where the basket is, and he steps up and just drains the putt. Pretty sure Brian had that on camera.
Get it!
So that match won the match for us.
I guess my question is, if you're playing North and there's a tie, would you continue the tie on North, or would you just have them play like 1 and 2?
If it was me, I would say it's team challenge, just play back towards the pavilion. Or if like darkness was a problem, like play a more open hole that's, not as in the woods. This came up though. Was this for the CPS tournament or Turkey Throwdown? I think it was for the Turkey Throwdown. We had a playoff, and I think they said to do like whatever the hole numbers are, 9, 10, 18 on repeat. And we got through holes 9, 10, and 18. We're like, can we just go to hole 1 instead of walking all the way back to hole 9? We didn't, but we walked back to hole 9. But so overall, I guess the score was 19 and a half to 16. Jay Park over Burbine with their half a point penalty.
So it was 10 to 8 in doubles. So, yeah. All right. Who you guys got next?
Next, we go to Central Park to play the Rosebuds / Roses / Crackpipes.
So that puts the Beast of Burbine at 2 and 3, and the Wrench is at 4, 0 and 1, question mark. All right. I would save this one for last, but for time purposes, we're going to go to the Whips at the Widowmakers. Looks like Jason, Jaimen, and Randy were the only ones to pick the Whips. Evan, Corey, Alex, Kristen, Jacob, and Caitlin all picked Wilcox. But should we start with this whiteboard?
What whiteboard?
Kristen, what happened there? I don't know. Is that the inside of a PBR box?
Dude, that's what I was going to say, even though I know those are white, not
an extremely dirty camera lens.
I think it's even greater that Corey knows, I know those are white. So.
I was literally going to say the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure that's a divider between a PBR 30 pack.
Do you not normally have a whiteboard? I could have sworn you guys did.
No, we do. I'm not sure what happened. I think Nick just forgot it at home. He didn't have it in the car like he anticipated.
Like Jaimen just leaves his in the car, right, Jaimen?
Yep, basically.
I was going to say, I'm surprised somebody didn't have one in the car, just as a backup. Between Jaimen and Jason, I feel like somebody would have had something as a backup.
Yeah, no, I mean, we made it work.
I will say this is very clean. This is easier to read than the CPS match.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Yeah, more legible.
They were upcycling a paper towel box.
There we go. And then we burned it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, which is some foreshadowing, but...
All right, so who wants to start?
I can start.
All right.
So the course was in amazing shape. There was a couple inches of crunchy snow, and they had all the tee pads cleared and salted. So it was actually really, really good playing conditions. Spread was top notch. I think like they have like less crock pots maybe, but they have more of everything else. They had breakfast sandwiches, these giant sub sandwiches, which are probably my favorite Team Challenge spread item. Abundance of desserts, a table of like craft beer and alcoholic beverages. So the spread was top notch. I loved it. Kudos, definitely my vote for favorite spread. Matchups, I was like kind of spectating, watching Travis win that cardboard box, and Randy did a really good job of matchups on our side. Both rounds. There's some pretty good battles out there. On my card, I played with Randy. Randy played against Nick, and I played against Mac. Nick played really good. Like, he was getting off the tee pretty solid the whole time. And it actually came down to the last 3 holes, and Randy was stormy. And Randy ended up like parking the last hole. We finished on hole 7, and I thought it was going to be a push. Nick hits this huge putt from like the top of the hill to take that match. On my match, I was pretty much parring everything for the first 12 or 13 holes. Pretty lackluster, and then I got a couple birdies at the end to win 2 up.
Max, what?
Is it Horowitz?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts on that match, Randy?
No, Jason did a great job summing it up.
He's a good sum-upper.
The only fun part was I showed up maybe like 10 minutes late. We wanted to start matchups at 8:30, so I think I got there at 8:40. So I just didn't have time to warm up at all. Like, didn't do a single putt or toss or anything. And like in hindsight, when I could have pushed the match and lost 1 up, my very first putt was just like an uphill like 12-footer and just like soft into the into the left side chains. First putt of the morning, falls out the side, and it's like, oh, okay, like first hole, no big deal. And then it's like, no, that was it. So it would have been nice to win that one or push that one, but I felt good. It was a good round for me, other than maybe my first 2 or 3 holes. So I was happy.
How'd you feel about the draw as far as putting out players?
I guess before I knew the results, I was pretty happy, but I did not expect as many wins as we did. I went pretty aggressive, and we also pulled in Forrester, who's a former Stony killer.
Isn't he a narwhal or something?
He's a narwhal, yep.
All right.
And Josh Wynn, this was his first match of the year as a reserve for us, even though he's been on the team historically. So it was nice to pull in a couple
ringers.
Yeah, ringer.
What was his ailment?
Who? What?
Josh's.
He was ailed?
He's had some shoulder issues, but he's healed up. He got
what's good for shoulder pain?
Throwing discs?
Just chucking frisbees.
You have to Google that Step Brothers reference. The listeners know.
All right.
Okay.
Well, anyways, having a couple ringers did not hurt in matchups. And it went better than I could have hoped. I kind of went at it hoping for at least half the points, and we ended up going 12-6, which really set us up for a good afternoon.
Heck yeah. What about your match, Jaimen?
My match was pretty good.
Played some guy Pat? Some other Pat? Oh.
Yeah, another Pat.
What was his name? Pat Skeeman?
I don't remember his last name, to be honest.
Shanley.
Pat Shanley. So Pat is a local. He's just one of those guys that knows the course inside and out. It seems, especially from the Reds. So it was a bit of a battle. I started off kind of slow. He went 1 up on me, battled back once we got out to like the more open holes, and I had a chance to air some stuff out. But then 15, 16, 17, and 18, he just took like 4 on me. I was 4 up with 5 to go. I carry a beer in my bag that once I'm super comfortable I'm going to win the match, that's when I crack it. So if you're ever playing me in Team Challenge and I crack a beer, I'm sorry. But
does that count for New England as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not opened as much in New England.
Tighter matches, typically, I would imagine, yeah.
Well, and I'm the captain, so I don't get to warm up.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah, I've always got it there. So I cracked my beer with 5 holes to go, and he just proceeded to take all 4 holes in a row on me. I let off the gas a little bit too soon. And he was hungry. He was playing hard. It was like 2 50-foot putts. He was really coming in clutch when he needed to. And then on the last hole, we just parred it. Neither of us had a good enough drive to really birdie it. I miffed a probably 30-foot downhill birdie putt, but it was like one where, in the last 5 holes, I was like, all right, well, I'm guaranteed to win. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, if I airball this, I'm downhill. I could lose this match on the last hole if I run this putt too aggressive. So I gave it a most bid, but I didn't make it. And we pushed, and that was that.
So it sounds like this Pat might be a better disc golfer. Is Pat funnier than me, Jaimen?
You know, he didn't mention anything trivia wise at all. It's hard to really compare. But he was a nice guy.
Oh, so definitely different. Totally different.
He's a farrier, which was interesting. That's what
And they
my
call
dad
themselves
does. So
furriers.
no, they call themselves farriers, Corey.
Well, farriers are horse people, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what Danny Parton is?
No.
Oh,
No, Danny's in the horse business, but he's not a farrier. Farriers shoe horses.
Oh, that's where I know the word from. All those Tic Tacs I'd be seeing.
Yeah, that's my dad. My dad's a TikTok farrier.
That's where he made the family money. You can take over the family business.
Yeah, so that was interesting. You don't run into a whole lot of those out in the wild. It was good. It was very competitive the whole time. I played with Jess. She had a battle of her own that she prevailed on. So going into lunch was feeling pretty good.
Heck yeah.
I will echo Jason's sentiment that spread was amazing. Kristen made, was it creamy Alfredo and gnocchi with lentils and chipotle?
Yeah.
And mushrooms.
It had mushrooms in it. I just wanted to note that there were mushrooms in it, basically because some people get a little bit weird if there's any kind of fungi in the food. So, it had mushrooms, it had bell peppers, it had a bunch of lentils, but I wanted to make sure that we had something vegetarian, knowing that Jaimen is very vegetarian. So I was like, at least one thing, I made sure he liked lentils before I made it, because I was like, we don't eat lentils here very often, but if I'm going to make them, somebody's got to eat them. And I mean, the whole pot was gone. So I think it's safe to say that everybody liked it. I had to end up posting the recipe in the team challenge group just because everybody was asking for it anyway.
Yep, it was amazing. And I got a free bag of lentils out of it. They're in the fridge. We're going to make something out of them tomorrow night.
And Kristen, you could tell them now just a hint of sausage, right?
Yeah. Well, no, and then I was like kind of telling him the rundown of what was in it. And I was like, and then there's broth. And I was like, it's veggie broth, though. It's not chicken broth. It's veggie broth.
Even if I'm getting vegetarian food, I do kind of expect it to be chicken broth because people don't seem to think about it. But thank you for clarifying.
No, I found something on a vegetarian website, so I assumed that most of it was, but I'm like, it always catches me because I'm like, you can eat cheese, right? If you're a vegetarian, like cheese works.
Yep.
Okay, yep, cheese is fine. Eggs are technically fine. So like, I know what it's vegan is the more strict version of that. So I'm glad that's not the case. That might have been a little more difficult.
It's like everything. There's a spectrum of it. It's I am technically a lacto-ovo vegetarian, but that's a mouthful.
So you do milk and cheese and you do eggs.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Cool. Okay.
So Kristen, what about your match? You had, it looks like Kathleen Bemis.
Yes, the Bemis.
Was she be missing them putts?
She was not missing any putt. No, she kicked ass. I love playing with Kat. I love playing with all the women on the whips, just to throw that out there first. But I don't think I ever have gotten to play with Kat on a card because we haven't necessarily been the same division in most circumstances. And I think last time we played, I didn't get to play on her card. So like it was a lot of fun actually getting to play with her for a round. Yeah, I mean, the tee pads were great, but the rest of the terrain, not so much. So there were just a few holes that I would get a disc that went sliding 50 feet in the other direction. Perfect example was 4. I hit just before the hill, so I didn't really get into the mouth of 4 red up there, and it went all the way down into the fairway of 6. So then trying to shoot up, and I think ironically enough, I think I ended up taking that hole, but there were just some holes that I was just not getting good slides on. Everything played pretty fast the second the disc would hit the snow and the ice.
Last week you had mentioned that you ate, I'm trying to remember your words. Did you say you ate shit?
I ate shit. I did not fall this time. But
Okay.
I definitely tried.
Did you wear the things you were saying?
The little crampon spikes. Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
I did. There's a strap that you can kind of put on the top, keep it on your foot. I cannot stand the sound of these things on a tee pad. So I have to take it off before I get on the tee pad, especially being there was no ice on them at all. I literally would just take it off at every tee pad and put it back on before we walked away. And I had it on my dominant foot, so it was on my right foot. I was able to kind of navigate with that, and it worked out well enough.
Is it clunky?
No, it's
Okay.
like it's almost like a little rubber, just like a rubber kind of skeleton that goes on the bottom of your shoe.
Okay.
So it's almost like you could kind of like use it like a slipper. And Highland Mike Warner was caddying for me again this round, so
Nice.
I kind of just like leaned on him. I beat him up on a couple holes because I like would take it off a little bit prematurely and then I would slip. So then I'd slip, but but then like my one arm would flail and I like punch him in the stomach and I'm like, oh, my bad. So we were laughing about that a little bit, but yeah, no, I got to balance on him and most of the holes had benches. So, I mean, even that wasn't too bad, but it was definitely some slick snow, some crunchy snow. There was ice underneath probably everything. But yeah, I wouldn't say I even necessarily played poorly. I think I played pretty well and Kat was just on her game, you know. She kicked my butt, but it was a good show.
Heck yeah. Any other comments on the spread? I think you guys kind of went over that, no?
Yeah, we had so much stuff left over. We were trying to give things away at that point. I mean, we had the sandwiches. I think we had 2 different sets of meatballs. We had mac and cheese. We had chicken and rice. Plenty of beer. We had a few different kinds of cookies, water. Somebody brought a bunch of different like chips that were all in separate baggies, so you can kind of just take things away and bring them on the course with you. I made Chex Mix, which no one touched, so I am not making that again. No more Chex Mix. I am eating Chex Mix for the next month. Even giving half away, I'm still eating it for that long. But no, it was good. We got a new power strip, so we were able to spread out the crock pots a little bit. So that was kind of nice. I feel like it's like a 5 or 6. No, it's not that big. It's like maybe 3 or 4 foot long thing that's got plugs spread out for like 10 different outlets. I mean, it's perfect for Team Challenge.
I think Jason said earlier that you guys would be his vote for spread of the year.
I appreciate that. We hustle, and I think it was the day before, and I was like, all right, can everyone just clarify to make sure that we're touching all the bases on like what we need to bring? So I think like the last minute kind of like scramble of making sure that everything was covered and like, you know, everybody had like solid things to bring. Devin always brings coffee and donuts. Like that's like the perfect kind of top off for the morning. And some people, they're like, oh, like I only brought this. Like, no, like you brought a great item that people could bring out on the course. You brought this. That's perfect. Don't diminish what you're bringing just because you don't think it's like a big worthy thing. Like, no, every little bit helps. Every little bit counts.
Talking about Devin DeClerc?
Devin, he brings coffee and donuts. He is the bomb. And it's reliable. You know there's going to be coffee and donuts.
I've said it in the past. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, no. And then, you know, Shane had work the night before. So he brought sports drinks. He brought some charcuterie. He brought some other snacks. So, like, there was plenty of stuff. We had a case of water just in case. And then Todd always brings, like, a jug of water. We had a fire going in a barrel. So that was kind of nice. We brought a little space heater from home. So, like, if anybody was kind of, like, by the food and wanted to just stand in front of that for a second, like, we had a little bit of heat under the pavilion, too. So that was good. But I'm just saying, we haven't seen Mike Schwartz come down and, like, judge our spread yet. I know we've only had 2 chances, and there's only 1 left.
Who you got next?
We have Tower of Power.
They're coming to your place, right?
They're coming to us.
All right. So, Randy, you're up 12-6 going into dubs. What's your thinking? Are you surprised at this point, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm a little surprised, but really didn't change how I was going to approach it. I set up a few different options like the day before the match, so I can like pivot a little bit when we get there, but I kind of want to have stuff planned and I don't want to change stuff too much so I don't, I guess, like trip myself up. So, you know, just went into it with some, you know, hopeful guaranteed wins, and then the rest were more hopeful. Unfortunately, I was one of those supposed to win matches, but we had a really good match. I was playing against, I don't know what Mike's last name is. Todd Martin and Mike something.
Smith?
It could be.
Yeah, I don't think we have another.
And my partner was Tucker Middleton. We were playing the back 9 reds and then the hatchet reds. So me and Tucker are pretty similar players. We were going to that match pretty confident. We played the back 9. We started so that we would play the entire back 9 and then we would play the hatchet 9. So we were up 3, I think, through the back 9 and we were feeling good, like no issues. And then we get into the hatchet loop and we weren't making a lot of mistakes. Like we were never in bogey territory, but all of a sudden Todd and Mike were both canning like edge of circle 2 putts, like 60 footers. And all of a sudden it's like tied up in the first 3 holes, I think, of the hatchet loop. So like right back to square one. You know, we kept it tight the whole time. We ended up pushing it to a playoff. It was just a 1-hole playoff because me and Tucker both couldn't make a 15-footer. So it's kind of anticlimactic, but it was a really good match, and we still had a good time.
I thought that said 4-hole playoff.
No, the cardboard wasn't supported behind it, so it looks bad. The worst part, though, about Wilcox is there's no live scoring on UDisc. So I'm walking back from losing.
Is it a signal issue?
That's the reason I heard. So whatever, that's fine. For me, it stinks because after losing, I'm all, down about losing and wondering how everyone else is doing.
All right. So Jason, you played with your former Dubs partner, right? Or am I wrong?
We've been partners before.
You and Josh, right? Not common, but
Yeah, we're good friends. So we.
I mean, he's no mechanic, but
No, he's no Harry Lehman by any means. But he does good tile work.
No, okay.
But no, we were teamed up. I mean, we're a pretty power duo, but it's definitely a bird year die layout. Like I think we shot 10 or 11 down, and I don't know. We didn't really mess up, but I kind of just like got fatigued and wasn't birdieing stuff, and definitely was relying on Josh in the hatchet loop. He got, I think, probably most of the birdies in there. So yeah, we was really close. We almost had it, but Nick and JP were playing pretty solid and ended up beating us.
That's JP Hafner?
Yeah, which I heard he's a chef now. He was making crock pots too.
Ooh.
We were so proud of him.
Oh, JP says hi. He messaged me earlier and said, tell the podcast I said hi. I said, I'll work it in somehow.
Hey, JP.
Nice. Perfect.
So,
That was smooth.
yeah, thank you. It's hard work.
Awesome. Josh doesn't play much, right? He's on the disc captains?
Yeah. So he played New York last year and the year before. And then this year he made the switch to New England with Harry Lehman and myself, but I still play New York. But yeah, we've kind of focused on New England.
But his probably only rounds this winter have been like team challenge. He doesn't get out this time of year, I would imagine, for practice rounds.
Yeah, he doesn't play as much as others. And he has had a shoulder issue recently too.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what Corey says is good for shoulder issues? I don't either, because I didn't watch that movie or whatever he referenced, so I don't know.
You have to Google it.
What movie was it again, Corey?
Step Brothers.
I've seen that movie. I swear I've seen that movie.
That's one of the best scenes.
Kristen, you played against Kat and Jess? How'd that go?
Yes, we hung in there pretty tough. Savannah and I have been partners all season so far, so we've been a pretty solid team. Realistically, Jess and Kat are rated much higher than the both of us, so the fact that we kept it within one was pretty reasonable. And like I said, just like the conditions were pretty, anything could happen and anybody could get a point here or there. They had one pretty bad hole where they just had a really bad roll away, and then they had another really bad roll away, and then they had to get up there and actually putt it. So, I think that hole kind of brought them back closer to where we would be able to potentially get that score back. But there were so few holes left at that point that, we were able to get one more point after that and get it within one, but that's just kind of where it held. The last hole we ended on 17, which is a great hole. It's always a lot of fun shooting there. We didn't have the best position after our drive. My shot kind of went down far left and was on like the very bottom spot, which is normally not the worst place to shoot up from, but there were just a lot of trees in a particular spot that my disc had landed. So we took Savannah's, which was a little bit further back, but directly in the middle of the fairway. Her shot from there was really great and ended up sliding down into like the casual creek that's right there. So that was a pretty big putt. And it really wasn't going to necessarily matter if we made it from there. But I believe that was the one that actually brought us back within one, which would have been great if it was one more to push the playoff. But I ended up making the putt. It was a great putt. It was, probably my best putt I've had all day. That was at least a good feeling. And it just seeing what the rest of the scoreboard was after that round. And, like Randy said, it's like you have no idea what anybody has done or was doing. And you have no kind of inkling of what's happening at the pavilion as you're walking up. It was kind of a bummer because if we did end up pushing or, somehow figuring out how to take that match, we would have tied it. There would have been a playoff and everything. And I don't think any of us are necessarily upset with how we played. I think everybody on the team played really well, but this was our first loss in 14 matchups. So, it's going to sting a little, but we got one more match for the season and then finals will happen. So, there's still season left. I think, our hopes are still pretty high.
And your partner was Savannah?
Savannah, yes. Savannah Burke.
Oh, nice.
Who was the last card in? Was it you guys?
Yeah, I don't think it was us. I think...
No, I think it was the ladies.
Was it us?
Yeah.
So it was all your fault you guys lost. No.
Shut up, Corey. I already have giving myself a hard time about it for the last 2 days.
It wasn't any of the other ones that came in as losses.
But it sounds like, Kristen, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Randy was kicking himself for a 12-footer on hole 1 in the first round, which ended up costing him. And then Jaimen was saying, like, if he overshot this other putt, it could have cost him. Obviously, you could probably think of one shot that might have been different, but really, is there? It didn't sound like there was one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we played pretty solid throughout the whole day. And like I said, we're a pretty good doubles pair at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say we had maybe 2 bogeys. They were just rough calls. Like I said, the ground was playing pretty fast. So like if something just hit the right way and flew, or like I had a few shots that I threw it up and I was like, oh, if you just stick, that'd be great. And it would somehow find a nice soft spot and stick in the snow. And it's like, all right, well, that's a chance. Like that's not going to be the case every time. So, we got lucky with a few of those and a couple of them. And then, it's just, we gave ourselves big putts and a couple of them just didn't cash.
Yeah.
I'm still very proud of how we played. I think,
Absolutely.
like I said, it was a tough matchup, and to be able to come in and only be one off of what they had scored to finish the round, that's nothing to scoff at. I think it was great. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Jaimen, you were paired with Patreon Peter Hod,
Yep.
right? Oh, nice. How'd that go?
It went well. We started off on hole 2 in the hatchet, and this is Peter's first time playing the course. So he's playing all of these holes blind, all 18 on the first round, and then the hatchet 9 on the second round. We're just kind of like plugging along, getting birdies where we can. It was kind of like tit for tat for the first really 8 holes. I think we left the woods even. Maybe we were one up, but nothing you feel comfortable with. But then once we got back to the original 18, we kind of put the afterburners on and took some strokes and built a little comfortable of a lead and just didn't really let up. Peter's a crazy solid doubles player. I was talking to him about it on the walk back. I was like, for me, I'm so used to being the one that really needs to score that like I feel weird playing doubles with him because like I won't be the one that's always getting the scoring play. So I feel like I'm letting my team down, but like we're birdieing stuff, and so it's just he's super strong as a player and it's fun to play with him, but it's like taking me a little bit to wrap my head around it, which has been cool. I am all for more doubles rounds where I don't need to be so stressed out. We played Nick Warren and Max Horowitz, who were an awful lot of fun. Nick seems to be a pretty avid listener to the podcast. So we were talking about, he really enjoyed trivia last week, which was good.
Oh, I'm like thinking, we got to do team challenge this week. We might not get to a quiz. And I felt so bad. It was so difficult last week, a few of those. So
whatever, Pat.
no, I was kind of kicking myself after, like, one gotcha is enough. Like one like really tough one is enough for a week. But
I feel dumb because like I feel like it's all stuff that I should know. So when I don't know it, I just feel like an idiot. But no, yeah, he loved it, so it's all worth it.
Whatever.
It's all for the listeners, right? I don't care how you guys feel now, but I also do want you guys to keep coming back for the quizzes. I don't want to, piss you off.
Shane actually came up to me on Saturday and was like, "That was so hard. Don't even worry about it." I was like, "No, I'm not. I don't feel stupid. I feel so stupid, but I don't feel that stupid." Those were all really tough.
The thing with trivia is it's all about what the questions are the night you're there.
Yeah.
The next week you could know everything. The one thing I do like about you guys picking the categories is that adds a bit of randomness. Category 2 last week would have been a slam dunk for anybody, I think, but nobody picked it. So you guys were up 12-6 after round 1, but Wilcox took dubs 10-8, but you held on 20-16.
Yep.
So that puts the Whips at 3-1-1 and the Widowmakers at 4-1. Jason posted the Spider-Man thing where CPS beats Mindkill at Mindkill, Wilcox beats CPS at CPS, Mindkill beat Wilcox at Wilcox. Was it Caitlin Clay who posted the picture of the dragon one?
Yeah.
Where like the 3 real teams, the Widowmakers, the Roses, and the Whips, and then the Wrenches, they're in first place.
The other 3 teams have almost identical point percentages, which is higher than J Parks, but J Parks is technically in first.
So the Widowmakers are at 60.5, the Roses are at 60.3, and the Whips are at 60.5. The Wrenches are at 58.8.
So I'm assuming that tiebreaker thing is going to happen.
We'll see.
Anybody with like 4 wins at this point is locked in, so it's not going to make a difference for whether or not somebody gets to playoffs, but it might make a difference for seeding.
Yeah, I haven't run any numbers, but if it works out after the last match, if the Whips and J Park are in second and third, then there's no reason to play off because we'd play each other in the morning either way at finals. So
makes sense to me.
Yeah. If it also somehow worked out where it was first and fourth, there would be no reason to play off. So really it would just be if one of us was first, and there's no good way to say that.
No, I get you.
If we weren't going to play each other in the first match of the day at finals, there'd be a good reason to play off, I guess, but we'll see.
So if the Wrenches win, they're at the Roses though. Oh goodness. It does not.
No,
get
that
easier.
match. That match.
That
is
sounds
a
like
lot.
it's a big match. Okay.
Not worried about it.
Doesn't sound like it. All right. We've got one more match, but Jason, do you got to get going? Kind of kept you on here.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm gonna jump off.
I tried to get to it as quickly as possible, and I appreciate you sticking on as long as you did. You are 14-5-1 in your picks.
All right.
It's good for a tie for fourth.
You're not including the Super Bowl in there, right?
No.
Good.
That's a separate thing, and you'll hear that on Friday.
Oh, great. Can't wait. I asked my kids, I'm like, so who's going to win? And, the Birds, of course. So, okay.
Oh, they said the Birds?
Yeah.
And you didn't pick them?
I should have. I mean, I asked them after the podcast, but.
Oh, well, that's fine. Yeah.
5-year-old, is it Chiefs or Eagles? Oh, Eagles, definitely.
As you heard in the last episode, I have no problem adding it. Oh, Jason wants to change his pick to the Eagles. I could have put a little voiceover action.
Yeah, I should have did that.
That's okay.
Put me in like the action movie guy voice. Good talking to you guys. I'll listen to this Friday. And then what's this weekend? We've
got J Park Ice Bowl, monthly at Thatcher, and Stony Kill at Oak Ridge.
Lots of stuff going on, so might see some of you there. Yeah, well, it's good talking to you all, and I will talk to you next week. Sweet up.
Peace.
Take it easy. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, so our last matchup for New York Team Challenge, we have the Chatham Hill Country Club at the Tower of Power.
True.
Well, Alex, what are you thinking? Going into this, you had one win?
Correct. Yep.
And this is your last scheduled match, right? You're not playing next month.
Right.
So it's like win or go home, and potentially win and go home.
Yeah, pretty much. So basically going into it, we knew that outside of some really weird things happening, even at 2 wins, you're not going to make playoffs. It's not going to happen. So it was sort of just, for pride. The one goal we technically had was if we just absolutely destroyed them and won by a whole bunch of points, then we could have gotten to 50% points for the season, which is not a realistic thing. We would have had to win by like 16 in both singles and doubles, but it was, still kind of something that we were hoping for.
The goal. Yeah.
Yeah. And going into somebody else's home course and doing that is, very unlikely, and it wasn't expected, but that was really the only thing that we had in mind. Other than we want to win because we want to win, that was the only other thing that we really had in mind.
What were you guys thinking?
Personally, I will say I think something I've realized, as much as I really do enjoy being co-captain, is that I've not been giving myself a good chance at playing in the first round, playing well by not warming up. So I intentionally got there early and immediately grabbed some discs and headed out to start throwing some practice shots with Brian Monahan, Jay Malloy, Dennis Daly, which ended up being good for me to foreshadow my match a little bit. But that being said, I didn't really look too closely at the matchups ahead of time or the rosters. I know Kevin had the chart, and so I was there for the board, obviously. Tim Goyette was not there in the morning. So strategy-wise, I'll throw it over to Kev.
Yeah, and it was a rough week for me. I mean, I traveled to Syracuse for the Duke game on Wednesday, came back Thursday.
What sport?
Hoops, men's basketball.
Who are you rooting for?
Duke. I'm a huge Duke fan.
All right, because you live in North Carolina?
No. Actually, it goes back to my coaching days. My first real athlete ended up going to Duke University.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I sort of started following Duke from that. But it was also, with the weather came in Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So it was like scramble, get back. I got a really big shout out to Jay Malloy and Brian Monahan for stepping up. Jay got there early on Thursday and started tackling all of the tees. The Snow Angels have been pretty good about keeping the white tees clear all winter. Blues haven't been getting touched that much. Jay got there a little bit before I did. He got like the front 9, and him and I tackled the back 9, saved 2 or 3 holes. Actually, Tim and Evan and I were talking Friday. Tim mentioned that Brian was heading over, and then I talked to Brian and found out he was going over in the afternoon. So hooked up with Brian, and we hit the holes that didn't get hit, and then went back over the other holes that got hit. And then I got there early Saturday, and we tried hitting the tees all over again to make sure that they were all kind of in good shape. There were a few that were still a little rough. 2 in particular, 2 blue, is just in a bad location. There's just not much that we can do about it. So that kind of distracted me really from, even though, Timmy did the heat table as we kind of stole from Alex in last year's match. When I looked at it, it didn't look overly promising. Also, I came down with something somewhere along the lines. Evan had to keep nudging me a couple of times. He's like, our turn to throw. It's our turn to throw.
Did you take a bunch of Benadryls?
No, I didn't take any Benadryls. I probably would have done better if I had.
I mean, you sound healthy as fuck. That's all I'm saying right now. It's Monday.
We also had a last minute wrinkle where one of our ladies the morning of turned up sick.
Who was that?
Alicia, Dion Johnson, Ben Pickering's fiance. Yeah, so I woke up that morning and there was a text from Alicia that I haven't slept all night. I'll be a trooper if you really need me. And we knew that Alicia and Ben were only going to be able to play the first round. And I reached out to CK from our team from Central New York and said, do you think Carletta might want to play? And CK was back to me within 30, 45 seconds.
Who's CK?
Krista Kovic. She's from Central New York.
Yes, CK.
Was this a potential penalty point if she didn't make it?
Yeah. Both of us had more guys than we needed. So Mark had texted us that morning and let us know who was sitting out in the first round and who was sitting out in the second round. And then that's when we let them know that Alicia wasn't going to be able to make it. Kiddingly said, I can play as a female if you don't want to have somebody to sit. Not expecting at all that would happen. But that's ultimately what happened. Gracious of their ladies and their captains. Thank you again, Alex and Mark. I hate the idea of having somebody travel and then they sit and they're not playing, for no reason.
So, wait, you played as a woman?
I played against Carly Spalding.
That's cool.
Pat, I didn't know that they had made that arrangement and we're doing matchups and they said the names and I kind of looked confused about it, but Kevin and Alex and Mark worked it out. I don't know if Alex can shed any insight onto that.
Yeah, theoretically by the rules, it's more that Carly was playing as a guy as opposed to Kevin playing as a lady. The general idea was have as few people sit as possible, and that seemed like a even enough matchup on paper that we weren't going to stress too much about it.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we ended up waiving that penalty point to make things even, keep people playing.
Carly's rating is 65 points higher than mine.
All right. And that is definitely not Jeff Wachowski who took the picture of this whiteboard.
No.
That's a lot narrower.
He was there, but I think that's probably me, if I recall.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget who posted the final score.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, looking back at the matchups, I think that maybe we didn't quite get, everything that we would have hoped for.
It looks like Alex played Evan in round 1.
Different Evan.
Oh, well, how'd that go? Evan who?
So that's Evan Lloyd. He is a Central New York guy. I want to say I played in the same division as him when I went out to the Syracuse Open, but he played much better than I did. He did pretty dang well. I did not. I talked to him a bunch, super nice guy. Everybody on the card was nice. I had played with Dan Perry at Electricity as well. So it was a pretty nice card all around. Dan played against Andrew Dorrell, which was a little bit of a mismatch.
Dan didn't have a good day.
Yeah. It was one of those things where I know I've played with Dan a couple of times at this point, and if he was really on, he could have kept up with Andrew. But Andrew was pretty dang on as well, so it was going to be tough for him no matter what. On my end, something Evan mentioned a little earlier is when you're captain, you tend not to warm up as much. I did not get there with enough time to warm up, which is normally not too much of a concern for me, but I really should have done some putting at the very least, because I gifted him at least 2 holes just off of missed 15-footers, or things that I absolutely should be, 99% or higher on making, and missed him a little high and left on both of them, which is, a little bit frustrating, but that's how it goes sometimes.
Well, I appreciate both you and Randy pointing out that you missed left, not right.
High and am side. Yeah, Andrew played lights out. They played 12 holes or something like that, and he birdied 10 of them or something crazy.
Did we mention the layout for round 1?
We play whites, Pat.
Okay.
I made a little bit of an effort to come back towards the end, but sometimes you got to get real aggressive to try and take some points off them, and you end up dropping some more because of it.
All right. Kevin, what about your round? You played Carly? Is that Carly Spaulding?
Yes, my card was Sparky and myself and Ryan Yadow and Carly.
Now, as far as Sparky's concerned, does he have 2 Spauldings on the Chatham Hill team? Did I see another
Correct.
one?
Yep.
His wife and his daughter.
Oh, goodness. Oh, Beth Spaulding. Okay, there he is. Okay.
Yes. Sparky was up for most of the round, and then Ryan came back, tied it up. Sparky would go ahead. Ryan would come back. Ryan would go ahead. Sparky would tie it up. We started on hole 5, so we finished on 4. They were tied going into 4, and 4 white should be a birdie pretty much for these guys and even for most people. And Sparky, as soon as he threw his last shot, he was like, I threw the wrong disc. And it was close, but, Ryan took him on the last hole. It seemed like Carly was having a rough round, just hitting a lot of trees.
Does she play that course a lot, or you don't know?
Sparky does. Sparky comes out and plays disc beat as often as he can. It was more last winter when he was off from his job or on vacation or whatever. Not so much this year so far. He does come out on occasions and play Friday night dubs and stuff like that. Carly, I think, has played a couple of times maybe, but certainly not as much as her dad. I'm not the highest number of rounds at SPW for last year, but...
You're not?
No. We've got one of our local guys had like 150 rounds.
Who's that? Is he on your team?
No, he's not. It's Justin Winter.
Okay.
I did a similar thing. My first putt, I missed high and left. It seemed to be a theme that day, I guess. So we started on 5 and we played through to 17. I continued on with Ryan and Sparky. Carly headed back up to the gazebo to check on her dad's crock pot, make sure that everything was okay. He ended up hooking up with Ben, Pickering, and Troy, who we had a little bit of a backup when we got to hole 1. There was a card waiting to play when we pulled up, and there was a card on the hole. And then Troy and Ben walked up and were like, well, you guys want to just jump in with us, because they were playing 1 as well. And then they finished up after that hole. And then Ryan and Sparky kept going. And it was good to see Ryan out there, because I know he hasn't played since October. His shoulder's been bothering him. So it was good to see that he was back out and was able to play both rounds.
There's a movie that I hear that can make his shoulder feel better.
That seems to be another recurring theme tonight.
This was one of the first times all 4 Ryans of the Chatham Hills team were available to play. So that was nice that we were able to get that in for the last round.
Ryan Y, Ryan K, Ryan J, and Ryan M.
Yeah.
They form like Voltron.
Are they missing an arm or a leg?
Yeah, the last one would form the head normally, right?
Yeah, the black one. Yeah, the best one. So, Evan, you played on a card with Patreon Terry Hudson.
My good buddy T-Hud, Terry Hudson.
And the father of Patreon member Noodle Arm Brandon Klein. Who'd you play?
I got to play against Peter Lundstedt. It's the first time I had an opportunity to meet Peter. It was his first time coming to SPW, and we had a great card, great company the whole time. Terry and Kenji, you can see there the score. Kenji took it 5-3, just kind of quietly, just playing really steady, smart golf. Terry wasn't doing anything bad, but Kenji was up 4, I think, after 8 holes. Terry got a couple back, but Kenji finished out on hole 15. We started on hole 1, as is customary for myself. I was really feeling good. Like I said, I had a chance to warm up, and I was playing pretty well. The first 2 holes, we pushed kind of similarly, and then we got to 3, and I threw just a beautiful shot with my proxy, literally parked it. And Peter was probably 45 feet or so left. And, it's an open look at the putt, but I'm thinking, okay, here's a chance to get a point. And he just absolutely drained it. So, okay, we go to hole 4, right around the tower. I threw my zone, parked it. He ended up kind of short and had to straddle out around one of the corners for a tough putt, sank it again. I'm looking at Terry like, what do I have to do here? Hole 5, we have the temporary Mando up on the white layout. I parked it again. Peter had a long putt that he made again. I said, Terry, I don't know. I think I have to ace if I want a point here. And, just he was putting lights out and, very pleasant and fun to play with while he was doing it. I finally got a point on hole 7. but then he got back-to-back 8 and 9. I got one back on 10, and then he took it on 11, and just I couldn't quite claw back at that point, and ended up taking it down 2 and 1. But just, a really good match. I did pretty much, all I could to try and hang in there, but he got me on that one.
All right, so after round 1, it looks like 12.5 Chatham Hill to 5.5 Tower Power. Alex, does this keep your hope alive for 50% or no?
I think it was still technically possible. We would have had to do something similar where we won something like 14 out of the available 18, maybe even 16 out of 18. It would have been tough, for sure. I think it was technically possible, but tough.
And on your side, Kevin, what are you guys thinking? You're down 7 going into round 2.
Down 7. We need to win 7 to win.
And just to clarify, it's 7
out of the 9.
Okay.
I think we would have needed to win 7 out of the 9 matches in order to have a chance to win.
I can tell you what I was thinking at that point, Pat. I was glad that Tim Goyette had showed up. I was looking forward to having him do matchups, hopefully for dubs, and to have him play with Brian Monahan. Mm-hmm. It was nice to have him in that spot for matchups.
Ditto. As the day went on, my head was just getting worse and my body was just aching. And so I was very happy that Tim was there.
Well, before we get too far into round 2, Alex, since you're the road team, what about the spread?
Spread was excellent. Nothing really to complain. Technically, because we couldn't find plates, we were some of the first people in, and we didn't know where the plates were. We found bowls, but we didn't find plates. So that was a little bit awkward, but the food itself was all excellent.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex. The plates were in the big white box that was sitting on one of the tables if you didn't find it.
It's too late, Kev. Let him go.
Was there any gnocchi?
I don't think there was any gnocchi. There was a little taco bar that was great. There was some cornbread that was really good. Evan brought his strawberry cake, which I know people really enjoyed.
Did it fall over in your car, Evan?
No, I took my daughter's advice and I transported it on the floor of the car this time. So in the event of any sudden braking, it would have nowhere to fall to.
Oh, that's brilliant.
The wisdom of an 8-year-old.
Nice.
Yeah, and Alex, please tell Mindy I apologize if I was a little aggressive with the cake, but as a renowned dessert maker, I really wanted her opinion of it.
No, I'm sure she was fine with it. I will relay the message, but I'm sure she was fine.
Quick shout out on the spread. Shout out Eric Struna. He brought me some Lagunitas hop seltzers, which really scratched the itch of something non-alcoholic that was rather tasty. So thanks, buddy.
Sounds like an alcoholic.
So Lagunitas Brewing, but I read it carefully because a lot of the beers that are advertised as non-alcoholic are technically less than 0.5. But these were seltzers with natural hop flavor, but no calories or anything. Personally, I'm choosing not to drink alcohol. So yeah, even those 0.5s are, a lot of people have suggested ones to me, but seltzer, water, Gatorade, that's my jam.
Dig it.
Oh, and Kevin had found me and offered some of the, I've forgotten the name of it. It was a stout.
Angry Chair German chocolate cupcake stout.
No.
Wow, that's a bunch of words that do not go together.
It was surprisingly good. I normally don't tend to go for stouts, but that was a good one.
Angry Chair is really good.
All right. Kevin, did you play in round 2?
No, I didn't play. So Tim couldn't make round 1. When we sent over our roster, we said that, Ben Pickering wasn't going to be able to stay for round 2. And it was either going to be Tim or I that were going to play round 2. And then when Alicia got sick and I ended up playing, I said to Tim, please play round 2. So Tim played round 2 and I played round 1.
With the other half of Camel Case, Corey Brian Monahan, and it looks like they beat Andrew Dorrell and Kenji Klein by 3 strokes.
They had the hot round. Shout out to those guys. They absolutely
killed it. 49 on a par 56.
Correct.
That's for the Reaper, par 56. Yes, Kyle.
Yeah, I found somewhere to squeeze that in on the corner there for the people who were curious about par.
Yeah, I dig it. Reaper digs it as well. Okay, so it looks like Alex and his typical Dubs partner Sam played against Evan. Is Eric your typical Dubs partner, or how's that work?
Yeah, we've been partners, or had been for most of the year, and we were kind of riding a hot streak. Our home match against the North, Eric and I had one of the hot rounds of the day until we ran up against Dave Hudson, which kind of took the wind out of our sails. So when we went to Burbine, we broke the team up, played with other people. This match, Tim was doing matchups. He looked at me and said, who do you want to play with? And I said, whatever you think, man. So he was kind of making teams up on the fly. So he put us back together. And then Alex countered with himself, and I went, okay, you know what? No problem. We're playing the Blues. I've never met Sam, but I've heard a lot about him. Let's see what happens.
So how'd it go?
Alex, you want to let him know how it started? I'll say basically it felt like every hole Alex and Sam had a 45-footer, and Eric and I were between 100 and 150 feet out scrambling for par. Yeah, how did it feel for you, Alex?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the story of it. You know, the Blues are significantly more difficult than the Whites at SPW. You know, you're talking a pretty significant jump. You go from like 175 to 200 foot holes to like 350 to 400 foot holes. And you know, I'm pretty good with my distance, but not as good with my accuracy. So a lot of the times I'd get ourselves to, you know, pin high or close enough to it, but just outside the circle or 45 feet or, you know, 60 feet, but in that general circle 2 range. And Sam and I, despite Sam's prowess in the putting leagues, we couldn't get any long putts to fall for pretty much the entire round, but we kept on steady. We had a whole lot of tap in threes and just kind of kept things going there. But yeah, for the longest time it was just, you know, we would get our par, they would get their par, and we'd move on to the next hole and do it again.
After 9 holes, Eric and I kind of looked at each other like, is it really even right now? No bogeys, no birdies. Like, we're hanging in with these guys and we're still tied. And then on hole 10, blue, which is, it's a tough shot for me. I don't really have much of a forehand. I threw a great turnover with my detour and got up to a good look at the basket. But unfortunately, Eric and I both kind of miffed the upshot and took our first bogey. That took the wind out of our sails a little bit. And then on hole 11, Sam and Alex finally got inside circle for the first time, which I remember because they made a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
We were pinned high on the left, but outside of circle. So we had to putt first, and it was kind of near some trees. I had a low hanging branch, and I just found the right amount of hyzer and pace to make that putt for the birdie. And then I was sure one of those guys was going to make it, and they missed their first inside circle birdie chance for the par. So we got our stroke back. We were tied again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was on 13 that we got another bogey. We gave one up there, and then they birdied on 14, which is a long hole. So you guys were up, I think, 2 at that point.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Whenever we hit that first par 4, we ended up taking the birdie, and you guys got the par to put us at another stroke. So yeah, that sounds about right.
First par 4 is 14.
Yeah.
The TP hole.
Yeah, so we just kind of continued from there. We weren't exactly happy with how we were playing, but, you know, with no bogeys and, you know, slowly building a little bit of a lead, I don't think Sam or I were stressing particularly much. It was getting a little bit comical how often we'd have a 45-footer, though. Legitimately, I think probably 14 out of the 18 holes, we were 45 feet for a birdie putt. So yeah, that's always a little bit weird, but we were playing steady, didn't take bogeys, and sometimes it's all you need.
Yeah, these guys got a 3 on 17 holes in a row, including the 2 par 4s.
Yep. Those were our only 2 birdies. Our first 2 birdies, sorry.
Your only 2 was the last hole.
Our only 2 was the last hole. And we still had like a 35-footer, and it was just the first long putt that we made. Like, I missed it, and then Sam stepped up and made it to put us to 3 down with 17 threes.
So -3 to +1.
Yeah, it felt, well, I don't want to say it felt closer. I think after, 12 holes, we were like, man, can we do this? Like, could we maybe beat these guys? And the answer was no, but we really tried hard. And I had a great round with my good friend Eric. I always loved playing with him. Vibes were off the charts. Alex and Sam were great. Sam, super nice guy, as I'm sure you guys all know, and a great card mate. So thank you guys for that.
Yeah, but a lot of fun playing with you guys. On a different day, different weather, I feel like we'd be able to put a lot more birdies up on there, but I know you guys absolutely can too, so anything could happen.
It was fun watching on the U-Disc. Echo someone's statement from earlier that the nice thing, you could really follow along and see how everybody was doing, and it was like early on, we might have had maybe 2 or 3 cards that we were leading. And I put my phone back in my pocket and I didn't pull it out for probably another half hour, 40 minutes or something like that. Then all of a sudden I looked at it and was like, oh, wait a minute. Things are churning around here. And we were up on more like 4 or 5 cards and a couple close ones. And then, at the end, 5-4. So
Mm.
what I typically do is I'll walk around and I'll catch different cards at different holes and follow along for a while. I tried to get Mark to walk around with me, but I am not really sure what Mark ended up doing. Mark Oxford.
Mark had also picked up an injury somewhere, something with his back. I think he slipped on the ice practicing at one point.
Okay.
So he wasn't playing that day.
Looks like Chatham Hill got it 10-8 for a total of 22.5 to 13.5. So pretty tight in the doubles.
A lot of the wins we had were, playoffs or one stroke, or, it easily could have gone the other way in a lot of those matches.
Yeah, I'm proud of our guys for showing out some good scores, especially proud of Krista and Carletta for getting it done on the ladies card with a one-stroke victory there.
What's that little, it looks like an asterisk by the 18?
I added that in because they played the white layout, so the par does not apply to their scores.
I see Dan P. and Derek S. Is that Derek Stasinski?
Correct.
Won in a 2-hole playoff against Ryan M. and Kevin N. Ryan J. and Ryan Y. beat Terry Hudson and Sparky Spalding by a stroke. A 1-hole playoff with Joe J. and Chad M. against J. M. and Evan L.
Dennis Daly and Nick Alcatraz is a classic free smoke card, and they took down Greg Kurtz and Joe Viking, so it was a nice win.
49 to 52, 50 to 52, 54 to 56. 4 strokes. It looks like Evan, you guys got blown out compared to everybody else. And that's only 4 strokes.
We were pushing at the end, trying to make up some ground, I think. So,
well, that's what I'm saying though. You guys were tied through 9 holes, and that's the blowout. So not too shabby. That puts the Tower Power at 1-4 for the year with 1 match to go. The Chatham Hill Country Club are at 2-4, but they're done. You're done,
We're
Alex,
all wrapped
right?
up. Yeah.
And there's really nothing. It looks like 4-0-1, 4-1, 4-1, 3-1-1. So
yeah, there are 4 teams with at least 3 wins, so there's officially no chance of us making playoffs. It means my March is open to play as many tournaments as I can to get that point total up.
Boom for Buffalo.
Yep.
Is there any way that the Wrenches, Widowmakers, Roses, and Whips, that's your finals, right? Right now it's about determining who goes where.
So the Revolution can pick up another win to make some tiebreakers happen, and so can the Beasts.
That could force the Whips and the Wrenches to play the tiebreaker. Okay.
Yeah.
I dig it.
So it could happen, but it's looking like that's probably the set of 4 right there.
All right. So our current New York Team Challenge picks, Jacob was 2-3-1. With his picks this week, he's now 5-4-1. Evan was 6-5-1. He's now 8-7-1. Alex was 11-6-1. He's now 14-7-1. Jason and Caitlin were both 11-4-1. They're both now 14-5-1. Randy was 13-4-1. He's now 16-5-1. Jaimen was 13-4-1. He's now 17-4-1. 1 pick behind Corey, who was 15-2-1, who is now 18-3-1. So Jaimen, last week you were like, I thought I got a bunch of them wrong. Now you're only 1 behind Corey.
Yep, just playing up to the plan.
Looks like mine and your roles kind of switched between what yours and Kyle's role usually is.
Yeah, except I always beat Kyle at the end.
That was 2024. It's actually 2025 now. Check the calendar.
Yeah, that's why I said I always beat. That's a past tense also.
Semantics. We won't get into it.
Technically correct.
Actually.
So March 8th, we got the Tower Power at the Widowmakers, Beast of Burbine at Revolution, Wrenches at Roses, and the North at the Whips. And those are the last 4 matches because everything unscheduled is done.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We already talked about it earlier. What's the big one?
J Park CPS.
Wrenches at Roses. Yeah, that's going to determine a lot.
And Revolution at Burbine.
Burbine at Revolution.
Yeah, a couple 2 and 3s. Yeah, because one of them is going to be 3 and 3, and that might make a difference between the Whips and the Wrenches. All right.
Yeah.
Excitement at the end.
I got a question for the captains in the conversation. Has there been any talk about where finals is going to be?
I haven't heard of anything.
I haven't heard anything, no.
Nope, nothing yet.
All right, well, we still have 7 weeks, so
Probably worth looking into at this point.
I think so.
Neutral site.
Yeah.
I think in the past we've waited to see like who's gonna make it. I don't actually remember now. So
I don't know if we waited until after the February match. I could be wrong, but it just seems like really late.
No, I kind of remember that last year it was a little late in making a decision.
I just tend not to stress about it because it's so rarely relevant for me.
Samesies.
Gotta book our party house.
So we also did Super Bowl picks. Evan, Jason, Jaimen, and Kristen all picked the Chiefs. Corey, Alex, and Randy picked the Eagles. What that means is, Corey, Alex, and Randy, you each have 1 bonus point to be used in disc or no disc at any time.
Dang.
But you guys have to remember it because I won't. Points cannot be combined. If you're on the same team, you have to choose whose points you're using. I'd also prefer if you used it before we start, but definitely before we finish.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, you got to call your mulligan before you throw.
I like it. Let's say before we're halfway done. So before like the 6th question.
Okay.
All right. Anybody have anything they want to talk about?
Good luck to everybody playing in tournaments this weekend.
Who here's playing at the Ice Bowl?
I'll be there playing with Eric Struna, my buddy. We are the Killer E's.
Nice.
What are the divisions at the Ice Bowl?
So you've got RPA with 1 team. MPO's got 5 teams. MA1 has 12 teams. FA1 has 2 teams. MA3 has 15 teams. So we're MA3, so is Camel Case Corey. Chains Addiction is Jay O'Leary and Joe Karen, also MA3. I feel like the MA3 is kind of loose for this tournament, but it's non-rated and charity, so it's all good.
To digress for a moment, Jaimen, we did not decide as to where the finals were going to be last year until St. Patrick's Day, basically.
Jeez. Okay. Well, maybe the league's just chronically late.
Evan, you had said that who did a disc golf phonetic alphabet?
Oh, no. I heard about that from Tim today. Foundation apparently did a video. He told me that tonight at Putting League. I had no idea, so...
It was like a speed thing where they had to name a disc for every letter of the alphabet as quickly as possible.
When was this released?
I saw it on Friday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So...
No, it's good to know that we got listeners.
Right?
Do we think Foundation is the VPN listener who's from Slovakia? It's really Hunter or Connor or whatever.
Anybody have anything they want to talk about?
If anyone is planning on doing the Wilcox WOW, the park is giving us early access to the campsites that are on premise. So I know that opens up in March. I forget what exact weekend. We're going to be posting something about it really soon. But just as an early heads up, it might be out by the time this comes out. But either way, if anybody's interested in a campsite for that weekend, you just got to call the park office and mention that you're with the disc golf group, and then they will help you book a campsite for whatever days you're looking for.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Shit, what time they open tomorrow?
Bright and early. We are trying to plan some really cool events around the weekend too. So there might be stuff on Thursday, Friday, maybe Wednesday, but definitely probably Thursday and Friday. But then, we have the tournament Saturday and Sunday. And we originally asked to block off the campsite so that nobody could book, and they couldn't really do that. There was like no way to block it off and guarantee that they would be open. So they just said, they're like, we'll give you early access to it. But then once it's open, you just got to tell everybody to do it early. So for sure, I know Dan Doyle's already got 2 camper sites booked. So everything else is up for grabs.
Do you know what their gas-powered blender policy is?
I think if we fill it with disc golfers, I don't think anybody's going to care what we do as long
The blender?
Don't put any disc golfers in the blender. But no, I think if we fill the campground with disc golfers, I don't think anybody's going to have any issues with a little bit of partying. Respectful partying.
Good. I was going to say, I don't think there's going to be a gas-powered blender policy until next year, Corey.
Yeah, you're right. Should we call it the Corey rule?
All right, I have one question for each of you before we go. This is one disc or no disc question for everybody.
All right.
Corey, 1974's Killer Queen was the first top 40 hit for what group? 1974's Killer Queen was the first top 40 hit for what group?
Queen.
Is the Queen a disc?
That one's got to be, yes.
West Side Disc, September 14th, 2016. All right, Randy.
I'm ready.
All right. What is the one-word name of the Ben & Jerry's flavor described as vanilla ice cream with vanilla bean specks? What is the one-word name of the Ben & Jerry's flavor described as vanilla ice cream with vanilla bean specks?
I have no idea. Is it vanilla?
Final answer?
Oh my God.
Yes.
is the vanilla.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Clash Discs, March 23rd, 2023. Alex, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. An NFL team once thought about naming themselves the Chicago Cubs. They now bear what more mature name? An NFL team once thought about naming themselves the Chicago Cubs. They now bear what more mature name?
I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears.
Is the bear a disc?
I believe so. I believe Jaimen bags 2.
Do you, Jaimen?
Well, one, but yeah.
West Side Golf Discs, October 14th, 2021. Kristen,
Hit me, Pat.
Canada's Swan River empties into what lake? Canada's Swan River empties into what lake?
What?
Canada's Swan River empties into what lake?
Lake Ontario?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
What do you got, Kevin?
This one's kind of funny if you don't know the theme.
Yeah.
Oh, ridiculous.
10 seconds.
Vanilla.
5 seconds.
Fair.
I rescind my answer.
Superior.
What do you got, Jaimen?
I'm trying to figure out the theme. I wasn't paying that much attention. I'm going to say the Swan Lake.
Is the Swan a disc?
Yes, it is.
West Side Golf Disc, June 1st, 2010. All right. Kevin, extra atoms of what element are pumped into unsaturated oil to make hydrogenated fat? Extra atoms of what element are pumped into unsaturated oil to make hydrogenated fat?
You asked the wrong person a science question.
Extra atoms of what element are pumped into unsaturated oil to make hydrogenated fat?
Hydrogen.
Is the hydrogen a disc?
No.
Loft Discs, December 31st, 2020.
Ah.
Jaimen, crowds at the Mirage in Las Vegas love what Cirque du Soleil show that features remastered Beatles tunes? Crowds at the Mirage in Las Vegas love what Cirque du Soleil show that features remastered Beatles tunes?
Beatles remastered.
Final answer?
I feel stupid, but yeah.
Evan, crowds at the Mirage in Las Vegas love what Cirque du Soleil show that features remastered Beatles tunes?
Is it Mirage?
Corey,
Oh shit! It wasn't Mirage. Damn, I thought that was about to be it. Can you say it one more time?
crowds at the Mirage in Las Vegas love what Cirque du Soleil show that features remastered Beatles tunes?
Cirque du Soleil.
Randy,
Damn it!
crowds
What?
at the Mirage in Las Vegas love what Cirque du Soleil show that features remastered Beatles tunes?
All right. I don't know how this fits the theme now.
Sounds like you're about to be wrong.
I know. Beetle.
Alex, crowds at the Mirage in Las Vegas love what Cirque du Soleil show that features remastered Beatles tunes?
There's only so many words left in this question. Remastered Beatles tunes. Tune. We're going to go with Tune.
Kristen, crowds at the Mirage in Las Vegas love what Cirque du Soleil show that features remastered Beatles tunes?
I feel like it can't be in the question. It has to just be Beatles song. Yellow Submarine.
Kevin, crowds at the Mirage in Las Vegas love what Cirque du Soleil show that features remastered Beatles tunes?
My friend who used to manage shows at this for Cirque is going to kill me. But I hate the Beatles, so pass. I have no clue.
Jaimen, did this start with you?
Yes, I don't want that question again.
Wait, I know it. I know what the answer is.
Wait, I'll take another stab at it.
No, me first.
Corey, what do you got?
Is it just remastered?
Evan?
No, I remember.
Damn it.
It's Love.
Jester Disc Golf,
Yeah.
January 9th, 2023.
I thought for sure Jaimen just had too many words.
No,
Love.
I can't believe I didn't remember it sooner.
Evan, you actually get the last question.
Oh, good.
An epidemic of the bubonic plague overwhelms a city in what 1947 novel by Albert Camus? An epidemic of the bubonic plague overwhelms a city in what 1947 novel by Albert Camus?
That's Camus.
That's what I said, booty twat.
Plague.
Is the plague a disc?
Of course it is.
Doomsday Discs, April 25th, 2022.
Fitting.
Evan is our winner.
Yes.
Nice.
Yay, Evan.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. Love went through 7 people.
No, me neither.
I can.
That was
Category number 2 from last week.
no.
That's what I thought.
Ivan Marmota asked me. He said, "Dude, you got to have a category where the answer's in the question." And I think I had done it once before a while back, but I thought I'd throw it in there, and I thought it was a perfect way to finish tonight. So, anything else before we go?
Just thought of one thing, Pat. Blatnick Breeze is open for ladies. Early bird sponsor registration is the 12th, and general registration is Valentine's Day.
Awesome. Which is what, Thursday?
Friday. Today.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, thank you, Corey, Randy, Alex, Kristen, Kevin, Jaimen, Evan, and Jason. And so weed up, Hudson Valley.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day, ladies. As a special treat on this special day, here's COVID Kevin Kroenke with a new song from his debut album, What is a Mute Button?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Oh. Here on Terra Queen Vanilla Bear. Superior. Oh,